One of the problems with positive thinking is that when you're not positive, you think there's something wrong with you. If there's no positive without a negative, because there isn't, then by default, you're only supposed to be positive 50% of the time. I believe that questions are the steering wheel of the mind. The worst question you could ever ask someone as a coach is, how are you? Straight up negativity is an invitation to complain. Energy is more important than time. I don't believe I all have the same 24 hours in a day. I think some of us have more disposable time. This fucking mental health message of just talk, for most people, it's not actually going to solve fuck all. Never mind start talking, what if you stop fucking taking that? Oh, it's not a problem, I only do it on a weekend. But on a Monday you complain about anxiety. It's like, if you're not an addict, then you haven't got a problem. I'm diagnosed ADHD first. Then I'm diagnosed with depression, because then after that I'm diagnosed bipolar. Every time I left the house, my wife didn't know if I was going to come home. I've gone to the cliffs. My wife's had to leave my daughter in the car because she can see me. She runs over at me and she's like, Paul, think of the kids. When you rock bottom like that, it's all emotion, not great emotion. I couldn't deal with it. She almost let me kill myself. She didn't want to see me in so much pain.
Paul, welcome.
Hey, thank you, sir. This is I wasn't expecting that kind of welcome. Thank you, Sam.
Was it a bit formal?
I thought you were going to give it the big licks.
Oh, yeah. Tom Shagger.
I love it.
Is that better?
That's way better. Thank you.
Mate, thanks for coming down.
My pleasure.
Author, award-winning life transformation coach, 2 times UK Master Coach of the Year.
Yeah, come on.
Reel it all off. You've
Come
got
on.
loads there.
Come on.
Loads there. Loads. And we've just been chatting over coffee. I didn't actually probably appreciate the size of your organisation or what you're doing for people.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
It is mad, mate. It's been quite the journey.
I can imagine.
Aye.
I can imagine. Let's take it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about life before this Paul Mort, this life coach. Tell me about the early years.
I mean, the early years were left school, 2 GCSEs.
Yeah.
From a poor town.
What town?
A place called South Shields, where the Great North Run finishes, actually. Right there. Right outside my house, the Great North Run finishes there. And it wasn't that I was daft. It wasn't that I was stupid or lack any kind of intelligence. It was just that I was bored. Easily bored. Super ADHD. Undiagnosed till 2012. Wanted to be the class clown. So I failed, but it was just lack of effort, really. And then the problem that I had then was that you needed GCSEs. There wasn't any internet. So it was like, if you wanted to take the next step in your life, it was like you go to college or you go to university. I couldn't get into either. And it was either reset the GCSEs, which I had no intention of doing, or find something. And my dad had worked in the same factory for 20 years. He got me an apprenticeship. Started off as a YTS, remember those? 30 quid a week.
Yes.
30 quid a week youth training scheme.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember the apprenticeship schemes. I looked at one myself.
So it was before an apprenticeship, which you got okay money for. I was pushed into this factory, hated it. While I was there, I discovered booze, women, cocaine, weed, all of the drugs and that. Gained a lot of weight. And mad story then, I lost a bunch of weight and then ended up becoming a personal trainer and then stumbled from one thing into the next.
Personal trainer. How old were you when you became personal trainer?
21. 21. I've been self-employed since then. 22 years self-employed.
So you're probably unemployable now, aren't you?
Unbelievably unemployable.
And me.
When I left that job, when I finished my apprenticeship, I had me noticing and they were like, we're going to sack you anyway. We're going to let you go at the end of the apprenticeship. And then I got sacked from a gym and then I've never had a job since.
Wow.
What poor attitude.
What was the relationship like with mum and dad?
Fine, mate.
Good upbringing, good.
I can't average upbringing. 1 holiday a year. Had the latest football boots. I've still got all of my limbs. I've never been bankrupt. I've never lived out of a skip. My parents are still together.
Yeah, amazing.
Like normal working class upbringing. Aye. So it's weird because when I'm on the stage and that, I'm like, I haven't got that story until 2014 when it all almost came to a very abrupt halt.
Yeah, 2014. So when you were 21, you become a PT.
Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
Well, I discovered Tony Robbins. That was the big deal for me. So I remember I'd been sacked from the gym and I was living with my parents. I moved back in with my parents. And I remember, can you remember QVC?
Yeah, of course.
QVC shopping channel was on. And on the shopping channel is this big guy, massive teeth, giant, living in a fucking castle, right? I thought only dragons lived in castles, right? Living in a castle on his own island, talking about how you can live the life of your dreams and that. And you just had to buy a DVD box set for 3 easy payments of $9.99. So I did. I did, right? In fact, it was a CD box set. And I still remember it clear as day. I'd have a portable CD player, right? Little thing that you'd had to carry like that because you couldn't turn it on its side because the CD fell out.
Yeah, I remember.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And I'd be walking around the allotments next to where my parents lived, fucking doing incantations and shit. I remember one in particular that would go, all I need is within. I'd be doing this in the allotments.
What, saying it out loud?
Saying it out loud in the allotments with my fucking headphones on, doing this shit with my fingers. Mad shit. And then that was where I kind of got into business stuff. So I was PTing until I was about 26, 27. And then I started these outdoor sessions, and that just blew up for me. And that was the first time I'd really had money. I was doing 10 grand a month cash, like boot camps.
Boot camps, yeah.
100 quid a month.
You must have been one of the originals.
One of the OGs. It was the first one really that wasn't pay as you go. Like turn up, pay a $5. There was one in me town that was you could just pay what you thought it was worth. So that you just have a biscuit tin that you put a bit of cash in. But I had to learn about business at this point because I started that, Ty, because I was doing this thing where when I got sacked from the gym, I'd go to people's houses and do one-on-one training.
Yeah.
And then I'd go and teach fucking spinning classes, like a freelance, spinning classes, body pump, aqua aerobics, boxercise, all that shit, right? And then one day, it was when I was doing all right at that, and I bought this new Peugeot 307 Coupe, right?
Amazing.
Top came down.
Yeah.
I thought I was the top G in South Shields. And one day I'm coming back from a session, this guy, pissed, comes onto my side of the road and plows ahead first into me, writes the car off, and I'm in hospital for a bit. And during that 3 months off, I realized actually I haven't got a business here because I can't do what I'm getting paid for, so I earn no money. Obviously, I'd only been in business about a year. And I remember one woman in particular, she paid for 10 sessions and I couldn't deliver them. So she asked for her money back, but I spent it. So I had to dip back in and say, I'd never asked for anything from Bank of Mum and Dad ever since I left school. And so I had to pay this woman back. And then at that moment, I realized I haven't even got a business here. I think I'm a top G, but there's no sick pay, no holiday pay, no
savings.
Nothing. Also at that time, I was doing okay, but I was also putting quite a bit on my nose. So that's when that all started. And then from then, I remember being on forums.
Yeah, of course.
I was on a forum, and these American people were talking about these boot camps and that, and talking about marketing and that. It was my first real foray into like what marketing was. And then I set up this business, it blew up, and then I started making good money, and I didn't know, I'm not from money. So my family did okay, but none of them are entrepreneurs. I didn't know any other business owners, none. And then that's where I really, when you haven't had money and you've got it, none of your friends have got it, you like drinking, you like going out, you like partying. I did all the wrong shit.
You started living a life.
I started living the life. Next thing I know, I've moved to Marbella. I'm teaching other people how to do what I've done. Next thing I know, I'm in Marbella. I've got my son, newborn. Me and my wife getting married. My son's 6 weeks old, and we're going on a honeymoon to Marbella and don't come home for 2 years. But obviously, I was running away from something, I think. At that point in my life, I'd started cutting out all these so-called negative people. Like, I'd cut out all the people that would complain, because that's what I thought I had to do. Oh, you cut out all these negative people. You don't want these energy vampires in your life. Then I realized, actually, everyone likes to complain. So there's literally no one left except me and my wife. Me looking at myself in the mirror thinking, I've gained 5 stone in this time as well, by the way, so I'm a fat PT, right, which is mad.
Yeah, not healthy.
Nah, I'm living in Marbella, and the way I can describe Marbella was like having a 2-year lad's holiday. So that was...
Even though your wife was there with you?
Yeah. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know anyone, so my wife's raising... So my daughter's born there. We've got Max would have been about 18 months. I've got an 18-month-old kid. And a newborn, and a fucking, at the time, a 33-year-old kid she's fucking got as well. So there's just, and I don't know how to deal with this. I've never been shown a parent. I hadn't spoken to my mum and dad for a bit. I had no friends. I knew a couple of dealers in Marbella, and that was it.
And you're earning well now, right?
Earning good money, because I'm now teaching, I'm now stepping into the business coaching game, because so many people want to know what I've done at home in England. They're like, how have you done that? So I started charging people for that, the business mentoring and that.
And this is remote or in person in Marbella?
Remote. Every so often people would fly out to Marbella to do like a consult with me or something. And while I'm out there, I also start a supplement company. So, greens powders. Yeah. I started a company called Lean Greens. Okay. This is the first greens powder in the UK, really. Blew that up with a business partner, but hated it. So I'm making great money, not working that often, bored, looking for trouble, gained 5 stone, and then I just keep having these little, I'd go on like 3-day benders and not come home and not text my wife and she wouldn't know where I was. And then while I'm there, mate, I've had 2 diagnoses by this point. I'm diagnosed ADHD first. Then I'm diagnosed with depression. So they put me on antidepressants, which made it worse. Because then after that, I'm diagnosed bipolar. So I'm manic depressive, right? So I'm diagnosed with bipolar disorder. But in Spain, they don't really treat it. So my wife's got a newborn. By this time, she's probably it was August that year I moved home. She's just 3 months old. My daughter, she's got a almost 2-year-old. She's got me, diagnosed bipolar disorder, having these fucking deep depression episodes. So we moved home, but that actually made it worse because now I've got access to more drugs, more people to go on the booze with, more people to session with. Everything's cheaper. Do you know what I mean? I'm the big guy that's lived in Marbella, this success. I've got this car and that, and I'm fucking king of the dickheads, really. Do you know what I mean? The king of the shitheads. Man. And that makes it worse. And then December that year, that was ready when it just came to a head where I was ready to kill myself.
It's unsustainable.
3-day bender, a couple of days later, I'm like, and it's funny, mate, because I did this video. I made a video. We call it the Cliff video. It's had something like 11 million views now. And I'm just describing an experience. People are like, why was your wife there? I was like, well, every time I left the house, my wife didn't know if I was going to come home. So she'd follow me everywhere. Not because of the paranoia that I wasn't going to come back. So she followed me this one day and I was like, I've had enough of this shit. I didn't even know she was following me at this point. I've gone to the cliffs that are now live opposite. And my wife's had to leave my daughter in the car because she can see me. She runs over at me and she's like, Paul, think of the kids. And it's mad, mate, because when you're rock bottom, you think about, I've got everything. I'm making all this money. I've got this car. I'm living in this house. I've got this place in Marbella. I've got this wife, hot wife. I've got 2 amazing kids. But inside, I'm fucking empty because it didn't feel anything like when I was 21, when I set all those Tony Robbins goals and that. And I'm fucking saying me incantation, didn't feel anything like what I thought it would when I got there. It was like I'd reached the top of this building and it was against the wrong fucking wall. It's the wrong building. So she's come up to me, she's thinking of the kids, but logically, there's no logic when you rock bottom like that. It's all emotion and not great emotion. I couldn't deal with it. She's just saying to me, think of the kids. I'm like, they'd be better off without me. And I know many, many people have thought like that. There's people that are no longer with us that have thought that they'd be better off without me. I'm just a burden. I'm horrible to be around. Then she said to me something that I'll never ever forget is that she said, think about the kids then as being those kids whose dad killed himself. And I was like, that was like a snap decision. I have to change something. But even then, mate, a week later, I'm still on suicide watch, right? It's Christmas Day. I'm at home with the suicide watch team. My wife and kids aren't even there because I can't be around them. Any noise, I'm losing me fucking shit and anything. And I remember one lady, Donna, I've been trying to get her on my podcast for 3 years, Donna. But she's like, I can't come on, Paul, because she's still dealing with people that are at risk. So Donna's looked at me over the top of her glasses and she's just like, you need to fucking get your shit together. Because at this point, mate, when you rock bottom like that, you've just got people blowing smoke up your ass. You're amazing, you're this, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And some men, I was one of those that didn't need an arm around the shoulder. I didn't need a cuddle. I didn't need someone else to tell me I was doing fine. I didn't tell anybody else telling me that they're grateful for me. I needed someone to fucking tell me the truth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I needed someone to kick me in the dick. I needed someone to kick me in the dick and wake me the fuck up. And that was the first real thing where she was like, you need to get your fucking shit together, son. Because obviously everyone trying to support you. Support usually looks like praise. It's support. It's you're doing great. You're amazing. No one's had the courage at this point, I don't think, to say, when the fuck are you going to wise up, son? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, not even me dad, because he didn't really get it. And I wasn't exactly open with it either. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So she's looked at me like that, and that's just like, wow, I need to level up here. And then that led me on this journey where the good thing about having the money was that I was able to invest in fucking shrinks. I saw every type of shrink going. None of it worked. It was either talking about me past. It's either talking about me past that I can't change, or it was, I could just tell by looking at them, you don't fucking get this at all. You may have read a book. You may have the certificates. You may have your doctor before your name, but I can tell I'm looking at you now. I'm like, you've got no idea how I'm feeling right now. So I just couldn't vibe on it. I remember one lady, I'd seen her, she was a fucking professor or something. And I went to see her one day and she was like, "You're manic now, aren't you, Paul?" I was talking like this. "You're manic now, aren't you?" I was like, "No." She's like, "You're manic." So manic's basically the high part of bipolar. I'm like, "I'm not manic." She's like, "Yo," I said, "I'm fucking not. This is me. This is me being okay." She's like, "No, you're manic." And I just walked out and then I decided then that route's not for me. It's not for me anymore. They'd have me keep fucking mood diaries, which was insane, so I could write down how shit I felt every day. Just from how do you feel today? Shit. How do you feel today? Shit. Just reminding myself of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Which is what I teach. How do you want to feel then? So how do you feel? Shit. What's your mood like? Terrible. Do you know what I mean? Like what?
Doesn't seem productive, does
So
it?
I did all that traditional stuff, and then I ended up. This is a mad story. That September or October, one of my friends tagged me in a video, and he said, "Paul, this guy's like the American version of you." And it was a guy called Garrett J. White, and he was talking about my condition, the symptoms that I was suffering from, the things that I thought about. He was talking about them in a way that I hadn't heard anybody else talking about them, but it's what I thought.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know when you see
Resonated.
something, you're like, this resonates with me. I needed to see this. And he was selling this course where you flew to Laguna Beach, California. It's called Wake Up Warrior Week. And I jumped on the phone with him 10 minutes later. I've gave him 10 grand.
Wow.
That desperate. My wife saw the video. She's like, "He's exactly what you need." As soon as I got there, he went, "You're a fucking liar. What are you here for?" I was like, "I just want to be the best version of myself." He went, "You fucking liar." And I was like, "Shit, next thing I've got to do is fight another man on the beach."
Physically fight?
Yeah. Put them gloves on, put the head guard on, fight him. I was like, fuck. Because every man there was 8 men there, all successful in business, but were fucked up everywhere else. Either the marriage was falling apart, they were fucking rock bottom, they were an anxious mess, they were drinking all the time, whatever it was, everyone was a mess. And he said, when you bring people together who are the most successful in the peer group, those men will try and be the alpha. He said, so the best way to get that out of the way, the dick slinging, the dick measuring contest, and make them fight each other. And he said, you've ever seen this in a fight? People are best mates after. They can hate each other and then have a fight and they're best mates.
Well, they do it on the SAS selection show, don't they?
Make them fight each other. So I had this fight and then I learned loads of other shit and that led me down the path of studying with some monks, working with this lady called Byron Katie and all this just different studies and finding things that worked for me, things that I didn't like, trial and error. And then next thing I know, fucking hell, I've got this decent following. I'm twice UK Master Coach of the Year. I'm helping thousands of people. I'm being published by the second biggest publisher in the world. I'm fucking got Tyson Fury on my podcast and everything's changed. I'm off the bipolar meds. I'm fucking off the anxiety meds. Yeah, mad.
I was going to ask you, so you're off all the medication now?
All the meds, no meds. Asthma meds and that's it. And actually, I need to take this steroid for my nose because I took so much coke that I have this thing called postnasal drip. I mean, nose is fucked.
But it just drips all the time?
Just drips all the time. So I end up with all these. So I have snot like all the time. And then it ends up on the back of my throat. So I end up getting chest infections all the time as well. That was and obviously I broke my nose a few times as well. So it's been, I mean, that's the fast track, but that's been quite the ride.
I mean, the cliff video thing.
Yeah.
It got pretty dark, that, didn't it?
The cliff video was very dark, mate. And you know what? I didn't even plan on doing it.
That whole experience, you were right talking about it?
Yeah.
Talk me through that experience. What happened? What was it?
When I'm on the cliff.
Yeah.
So I've been on a bender and I remember the day, clearly it's a Monday. So I'd been on a sesh. Mondays, I've got those Monday blues. Even though, listen, mate, my business is killing it. But I remember just getting a few emails. You know when you check emails, you're like, oh, fucking hell. I can't deal with this. And then it was just noisy. That's exactly where I would place it. Not here. Right there, just heavy. Heavy behind my eyes. And then I just, oh, fuck this. I've had enough. House is noisy because the kids are fucking really young. House is noisy. Next door's fucking music's blasting. I'm just like, fucking, I'm out of here. Just emotional as fuck, crying all the time. And I'm driving up and down the coast because I live on the coast road. I'm just driving up and down the coast. And then I'm like, what am I going to do here? It's all just a cry for help, really. It's a cry for attention. I didn't know how else to get attention and affection. Didn't know how to ask for it. Didn't know. When you're in that position, you built that kind of business, mate. You're not the guy that asks for help, are you?
No.
You're not the guy. You're like, I'm the main man around here. I'm not asking anyone local for help. You know what I mean? I'm all over the shop. So I'm like, I'm out. Who knows whether I would have jumped, you know? People ask, would you jump? I'm like, I don't know if I had the courage to actually jump. It's a strange thing. And actually, when I look at the cliff, I'm like, I probably wouldn't even died. That's a terrible joke to make, but I would have probably just broke my legs.
Yeah.
It's not that high.
Did you get out of the car and go over?
Got out the car. I'm on the cliff. I'm on the cliff ready to go. I'm stood on the edge.
What's going through your mind at that exact point, Paul?
There's a bit of they'd be better off without me. There's a bit of, this is, I've never shared this before. There's a bit of, fucking hell. There's a bit of, I wonder what they'll say at my funeral. There's a bit of that. I hope people say nice things about me at me funeral. My kids aren't old enough to communicate really yet either. So I think that played a bit of a part. Like now, I don't even like being away from them for a couple of days.
I remember you saying.
Do you know what I mean? Not even a couple of days. I hate it. I take them everywhere. You've seen them at events and that. I take them everywhere. But back then they couldn't really communicate. And actually this is, honestly, they were just a fucking burden. I felt like a burden to them and they were a fucking inconvenience to me. Do you know what I mean? I found it incredibly hard, which is again, first world problem compared to what women have to do. Do you know what I mean? But back then I'm just a selfish prick. Didn't get it. And everything was just about me. Everything was about me. So I'm at that point, I'm just, what will people say about me at my funeral?
It's deep. Though.
Which is very deep. I don't think I've been asked that question before. Would I have killed myself? I don't know. I don't know if I'd had the courage to see it through.
You stood on the end thinking, what are they going to say about me at my funeral?
Yeah.
What comes into your mind that makes you take a step back and go back and get in your car?
It didn't come into my mind. She was that far away from me.
Your wife?
My wife came running over. Yeah, she'd followed me. She's left my daughter in the car and ran in front of me. Here's a mad fact for you.
Angel.
I didn't know this, but my wife did. She's a savage, right? She's a very powerful woman. She became a very powerful woman. I think that was part of the thing. And she's getting interviewed on podcasts and that now. And someone said, have you seen this? And I hadn't seen it. This is fucking out. This is fucking out. It was one of my clients that interviewed her, and one of my friends said, have you seen this interview with Leslie? I was like, no. And he sent me a clip and she was talking about, and again, this is difficult for someone to admit, she almost let me kill myself. She was like, I almost let you. And she says, because she didn't want to see me in so much pain. Do you know what I mean? So she's like, you got to consider me. I've tried everything at this point. I've had counseling. I've had therapy. I've had psychotherapy. I've had psychology. I've had fucking hypnotherapy. I've had all sorts of shit. I've tried everything at this point. And she just admitted that maybe it would be an amazing way for to end his pain. Like, she just hated seeing me in that much pain and not able to do anything. And she felt powerless as well because she's tried everything to get me out of this. She's made every appointment. I haven't made the fucking appointments, mate, because I'm in fucking self-pity world. She's made all the appointments. We've tried everything. We've literally explored every fucking avenue. Aye.
What an incredible woman.
Unbelievable. Aye.
I mean, a couple of things that have come to my mind. One, obviously, is the kids element.
Yeah.
Those kids are growing up now, right? One of them's like 12 years
12
old.
and 10.
Yeah. I met them at the IFS.
I'm very passionate about being a dad.
Yeah. I remember you saying.
Yeah.
There's a point, if they haven't already,
that
they're going to go onto social media.
They've already seen it all.
They've seen it.
They've seen me live show, innit? So I open with the scene in my live show. They're in the show. So they're in the show with 1,000 people. They're in the show with 600 people there. They're in it. So they've been almost every keynote that I've ever done. So they've heard that story. They've never mentioned it, but
I was just going to say, we spoke to them about it. No.
They've never mentioned it to me, but they've seen it. They've seen it. And I'm like, they're going to find out at some point anyway. They've heard it from me. I'm like, if you've got any questions about it, just ask. In fact,
fair play.
She said, we saw someone. It was in Nando's. Me and my son went to see that. Have you seen the new Flash movie?
Not yet.
The Flash?
No.
I didn't want to go and see it, but my son wanted to go. I thought it would be shit, and it was very good. I loved it. Very funny.
I'll go then.
I was seeing a guy in Nando's, and my son said, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, I used to get me drugs off him." I'm just open about it. Like, what's the point in? How are my kids, if they're struggling, going to open up about it? If I don't,
you're leading by example, right?
My dad's a closed fucking book. He's a closed book. He's a top G, but he's a closed book. He's never going to share his emotions. I've only seen him cry once, ever, and that was at me sister's wedding. It's the only time I've seen him cry. And he's 67. Actually, he's not. He's my favourite number. He's 69.
Oh,
yeah. I always write him up. That's 69. He's 70 in January. I think we're going to take them to Thailand for a week, I think, or 2 weeks. And I've never seen him open up, so I've kind of got to lead. I probably overcompensate, telling my kids how much I love them. I probably overcompensate on the time and the travel and all that because just because I want to, I've got, if something's going to change with this opening up and sharing your emotions, but taking responsibility for them at the same time, because I think that's an important distinction to make. Okay to open up about your emotions, but you've also got to say, well, my emotions are my responsibility. So I've got to change that.
You know, like we talked about therapists and stuff earlier when we were having coffee. And you said something that I'd never thought about. And you said something along the lines that you don't go to any of them because all they do is talk about your fucking past. And your coaching is about the future. And how you're going to make things better. I'm going to play devil's advocate on that a little bit. You're stood where you're stood that day thinking about, this is the end for me. You're desperate for affection, desperate for attention, desperate for love. That is deeply rooted. That comes from somewhere. And you've just mentioned that your dad was quite a closed book. You know, have you done any work on that? Could those feelings come from the fact that maybe you weren't shown
a little bit an
emotional love as growing up, and it was
that's why I love
love?
being the center of attention. That's why I've got no problem talking about myself. Because when you're a kid, you get told to shut up all the time. Do you know what I mean? Kids should be seen and
tough love,
heard.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
from that era
tough
as well,
love
from
at
your
school,
parents.
Shut up. Stop. Why are you interrupting? Stop being the center of attention. My daughter's like me, and I've got to catch myself saying, stop demanding attention. There's a fine balance as well, though, right? Between someone that's a cocky little dick and someone that's comfortable in social situations, comfortable in social situations. So it definitely comes from that. But my problem with the therapy that I had, and I'm not saying all's the same, is that I'm like, talking about my past doesn't fucking change it. And sometimes I believe that talking about your past and getting to the whole why, also that's why I'm like that, also becomes a fucking excuse for not changing. Well, that's because of me dad. Do you get what I'm saying? So it can also be a fucking crutch for not changing.
I've actually used that.
Do you get what I'm saying? It can become a crutch for not changing. Oh, that's just the way I am. Is it though?
It's deeply rooted from when I was a kid.
It doesn't have to stay like that though, does it? So again, it's a fine balance. Like figuring out why is cool, but you can use it as a catalyst to change or as an excuse not to change. Do you get what I'm saying? But mate, there's a common denominator. Everybody that is suicidal, without exception, and I've worked with hundreds of people that have been suicidal, hundreds. It's a big responsibility that I sometimes struggle with. They all lack a vision of the future. They can't see a way beyond where they're at. So all their focus is on their past, which they can't change, all right, which they feel shit about, and the present, which they don't like either. So the focus is on what they don't want and what they wish hadn't happened, not on what they do want. So I have this saying, which is where attention, I learned it in a book, where attention goes, energy flows. So if my attention's on my past, and I know that I can't change it, I'm not exactly going to feel great, am I? So what I add attention to, I add momentum to, and I feel what I'm focused on, right? So I'm focused on a past that I can't change. I'm not going to feel good about it, am I? Unless there's positive memories there. But if I'm focused on what I don't want as well, I'm going to get the feelings that go with it. So I just train my clients to train their attention, to focus on what they want, because that tends to make you feel good.
Yeah.
And excited and enthusiastic. People are like, Paul, you always got me energy. Your energy's so good. I'm like, well, it's because I've trained it. I've trained my focus to focus on what I want, what makes me feel good, and what I'd almost say grateful, because that's a bit passive, but what I'm appreciative of. Yeah.
I suppose with the past stuff, you can just try and reframe it.
That's exactly what I do, mate. I believe that when people are like, you got any regrets? I'm like, none at all. Even I've been arrested multiple times. I've been arrested for possession before. When my wife is pregnant, I've been arrested for fighting when my baby's a newborn. I've hurt people. I've let people down. I've fucking upset people. I've said nasty things to people. I've obviously made a lot of mistakes, but I'm like, I wouldn't be here without those.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you wouldn't be who you are.
Nah, it's quite a cheesy thing to say, but there's no other way around it. Like everything that's happened in my life's happened for me, not to me. Do you know what I mean? It's all happened for me. I can get lessons from all of it. And you said this before, like everybody that seems to be successful has overcome adversity, overcome struggle, overcome setbacks, overcome challenge, overcome mistakes.
That's what I've found, in my kind of conversations with people, whether it's on the show or just in general.
Yeah.
They've all had some form of adversity that's had to make them...
And they've had to learn from it as well. I'm like, a mistake that you keep making is a fucking decision. That's not a mistake. A mistake would indicate that it's an accident. But anything else is a decision after that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a trait that everyone has. The only regret that I do have is there's some things that I wish I'd started sooner. I wish I'd started jiu-jitsu sooner. I wish I'd stopped drinking sooner. Do you know what I mean? That's the only, anything that's to do with sooner. But the reality is I started at the perfect time because that's when I started.
They
Do
say
you know
that,
what I mean? That's also trying to change the past.
Yeah. I'm the same as you. Like, I think I said about 2 years ago, I wish I'd started reading sooner. Because for me, reading a book was, I'll do that when I'm fucking retired.
Yeah. And it's for nerds.
You don't need that knowledge when you're retired. You need to fucking, you need to be reading at 15, 16, 17, 18 to have a good 20 to 30s.
It's mad. I was at a parents' evening the other day.
Yeah.
Was it last night? What day is it today?
It's
Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
Yeah, last night. Last night I'm at a parents' evening. And we're talking to my son's English teacher, and she says, he's a lovely kid. He's only just started coming out of his shell because he's not like me. My daughter's like me. They'll have no problem with her coming out of her shell. Fuck me. They'll be trying to put her back in. So he's starting to just come out of his shell. And she was like, does he read? I'm like, your job must be really hard now. Getting teenagers to read. Tough as fuck. She said, I said he reads like old school comics, like the Spider-Mans and all that. He reads that. And she said, that's great. Don't stop and read. Don't try and force him to read like books. She said, just keep him reading. So I'll leave football. He'll read football articles and magazines and that. And she said, just keep him reading. She said, because kids just aren't reading now. Why would you when you can watch videos? I'm even talking about audiobooks and that. Yeah. She's like, he listens to podcasts. That's amazing. I didn't tell her which podcast it was. Like, my friends that I was talking about, Shag, Married, Annoyed. They just talk about shagging and mad shit, and he's heard them all.
It's quite interesting because we were talking about earlier. I'm quite a visual person.
Yeah,
I'm very erratic as well. My energy's the same. I can't concentrate for long. But I'd always prefer to watch and write than listen and read. Yeah. They were my two ways of learning. Yeah. But when we were in the educational system, I feel like they failed us because there was no option to watch and there was no option to listen.
Well, when a teacher couldn't be asked to teach something, then sometimes put a video on, right?
Yeah.
A video cassette.
But not like a... So like if you think of your boy now, he's got both options. If he wants to go on YouTube, he can physically watch...
Mate, he's doing his homework on ChatGPT, man.
Oh, there you go.
He said, Dad, can I use AI for this homework? And I'm like, one of them is to write a fucking poem. And I'm like... You shouldn't really, but guess what? When I was a kid, that's exactly what I would have fucking done. And even now, if I can get the answer off there, why wouldn't you? Like, you know that I don't use a calculator? I'm like, why the fuck not?
Well, this is the thing. I remember my maths teacher saying to me when I said about using a calculator, well, you're not going to always have one of them, are you? Well, how wrong were they? Because I've got a phone with me that's got a calculator and Google. But this chat...
Mate, you don't even have to type it in now. You can just say
it. Say it. So your son using that app to kind of help with homework.
Yeah.
It's a funny concept because, you just said you shouldn't really, but why? Because that is the future.
Yeah, it is.
Why shouldn't they?
It is. It's very interesting.
It's more like...
I was like, listen, do it, but then make it your own.
Feels like we're cheating.
It does.
From our era.
It does.
Using someone that's...
But it's normal for them.
Completely.
In fact, if you don't know how to... I was having a conversation with someone the other day. He was like, I don't think I'm going to give my kids phones until they're like 15 or something. I'm like, well, so... And they're like... So that they don't have to deal with there's things they shouldn't be seeing. I said, listen, if you don't, you can either arm them to deal with what happens on the internet, or you're gonna have to arm them to deal with getting bullied for being the only kid without a phone. Because they would, wouldn't they? I like, which one suits you best?
It's so powerful.
Do you want to arm them to deal with what's on the internet, or do you want to arm them to deal with someone fucking bullying them in person?
Yeah.
I mean, both could happen. Do you know what I mean?
It's like, do you want to prepare them for what's coming?
Yeah.
Or do you want to heal them from what's happened?
Yeah. It's very interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
I was pretty fortunate. My old man was always the earlier one. So
you must have had a bit of bullying though, when you moved here?
I had loads of bullying when I moved here. Only because, as I said, when I first moved to Swanage, there was not a lot of, it wasn't very multicultural.
Yeah.
There was no Chinese takeaway, no Indian takeaway, no kebab shop. My dad turned up with his kebab van.
That's mad.
I've turned up with big bushy eyebrows, tanned. And do you know what I mean? Just
big bushy eyebrows.
The old fucking McDonald's.
Yeah.
But he was very like, I had my first cigarette with my dad. Yeah. So he was kind of very like, son, if you're going to do anything, I'd rather you do it with me first, a safe environment, then go out.
Yeah.
And that kind of, like you take your kids everywhere, mate. Yeah. I really respect that. My dad did a lot of that with me. He would make me order when we went places to build that confidence.
Exactly. I'm having to do that with my son now. I'm like,
and I hate it.
I'm not asking for you.
Yeah,
I hate it. Your daughter's got no problem.
It's interesting that your daughter's the confident one, not your boy.
He'll ask her to do it. He'll say, Nina,
she's the older one, though.
No, younger.
And she's younger.
Nearly 3 years younger. But she's very confident, very outgoing.
I mean...
She does fucking 4 Instagram videos a day, man.
Does she?
Oh, editing's amazing. She's editing and shit. She makes better videos than me.
I always remember at school, girls matured earlier, both physically and mentally. We were fucking idiots still at 15.
Yeah,
whereas a girl looked like a woman at 15, if you remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, he's having that. When I went to the parents' evening last night, I was like, and he's actually big and hairy for his age. Like, he's really shot up. Like, he said, Dad, do you know, out of the year, so he's year 7. He said, Dad, out of all the year 7s and year 8s, I'm the only one with a mustache. Buzzing. Doesn't care. If I was at 12 and I was at school, I would have got teased for having a mustache and I would have wanted to shave it off. He loves having one. Like, he's growing a mullet now. I said, what are you doing that for? He said, I want a mullet and a mustache, Dad.
Yeah, cool hipster.
What's a mullet and a mustache, But
if you think, like, it goes back to what we said.
Yeah.
I would shave my beard off.
It's mad, isn't it?
Because it was weird.
Yeah.
And I've got English friends now that are having beard transplants, like hair transplants.
Extra hair?
Put into their beard to make it thick because they want this look.
That's mad, isn't it?
So let me rephrase that. Let me put it in a different sense to you. I was covering up and staying out the sun. And now in the British Western culture, we work all our life to save money to go and sit in the sun to tan.
Yeah.
To look like
injections in.
To look like the people we were taking a piss out of.
It's mad, isn't it?
If you think about it.
Yeah, it's mad.
So all of those things that were...
Yeah. Mate, here's a mad story about that. Last 2 years ago, I get a message from a kid who I hadn't seen since primary school. And he said, I see you're always out in Dubai. I live here. He said, do you want to meet for a coffee? Well, with your family? I was like, all right, let's do it. And my daughter was like, how are you going to recognize him? I'll definitely recognize him because at school, he was the only foreign-looking kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And he looked exactly the same. And I had to apologize. I said, mate, did I bully you at school? I feel like I might have said some racist things when I was a kid. He said, well, I can't remember. I said, well, if I did, I'm sorry. Because I remember he was the only kid that was a bit of a different colour. And everyone used to call him a paggy and that. And he was always like, I'm not a paggy. He was like, his dad was from like Oman or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when he was 11, he moved to Dubai. Now he's head of legal for Apple. Isn't that mad? And I met him and it was just, he still had he didn't have much of an accent anymore though, because obviously he's been in Dubai for 31 years or something. So imagine moving to Dubai 30 years ago. There's nothing there. But I thought...
There was nothing there.
I'm like, I'm sure people gave him shit at school and called him names. And I was like, did I do that?
The thing I struggle with is, I don't struggle with it. Like, when you were young giving that kid shit, and I'm probably going to get shot for saying this, but if you don't know and you didn't know,
yes,
I feel like there's no malice.
Yeah, I get it.
So when the people were taking a piss out of my eyebrows, there wasn't actually, oh my God, it's almost like, what the fuck are those? We've never seen eyebrows like that before.
Yeah.
It was almost the unknown. Like my wife's granddad, we call him granddad, he's ex-special forces, he's 89.
Yeah.
He is the most politically incorrect guy, loving guy you will ever meet.
Yeah.
He calls the Indian on the corner shop something. He called me something when he first met me.
Does he get cheese on a weekend?
Yeah, but like the most, he'll get out and change their tire. He's the most loving guy you'll ever meet. Yeah. But he's from an era that fucking said everything that we deem this new era as wrong.
Yeah, it's mad.
When he first met me and Claudia said, Grandad, this is Thai. He said, Sai, as in Simon. She said, no, Thai. And he went, Thai? He went, are you one of these Iraqis then? Like that. And this is like, I was thinking, Grandad, I'm actually from Turkey. But it's similar. Next door. But
do you know what I think about that, about bullying as well? I'm like, is that really bullying? Or is it just fucking, do you know what I mean? There's some things I'm like, is that bullying?
Yeah, where's that? I mean, it's blurred at the moment, that line. But what I was trying to get at is this era, like your kids' era, and when I have kids, they haven't really got an excuse.
Nah.
Because all the information's available to them. They've got the internet. And it's very mixed now everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
It's now it's a choice when they're saying something. There's not a lot they haven't seen, right? You think how much you can be on YouTube. You can see everything. You can see an alien.
Yeah.
You can see the moon. You can see the dodgy moon landing.
Yeah.
See you can see all sorts. Dicks. Yeah, like you can see all sorts.
Yeah.
It isn't the same.
It is. It's a very strange thing. Like we had my daughters at that age where girls are being a bit bitchy now, and we had one of the parents said, "Oh, so and so's been shaving her face because Nina said she had a mustache." I said, "What happened there?" She said, "You made a video about me saying I was fat." I said, and I'm like, "So what did you do?" She said she's got a mustache. I was like, "Well, next time just tell her to fuck off, like that, or give her a clip," because I'm like it's non-stop at that age. I'm like, "But well done for sticking up for yourself." But if you're gonna, the thing is with her, she's got an older brother, so they just banter each other all the time. They banter each other. So if you're gonna say something to her, there's no way she's gonna not give you it back. Like, do you know what I mean?
And I think like
people are like on the internet, they give me some shit, and I'll clap back a little bit, and then they play the victim.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like they'll say something like they'll say something, they'll just comment dick.
I've seen some of your replies.
Be like, no, thank you. Do you know what I mean? And then they get offended. I'm like, what? You came at me, bro?
I've actually seen some of these on your thing, on your comment.
Funny, isn't it? But I have fun with them. I'm like, you came at me and I've just given you a little bit back. You can't then turn around and play the victim. Like, so many people want to give it, but then they don't want to get it back. It's fucking embarrassing.
It is. Intention is super important, in my opinion. Yeah. Super important, because you can have banter with your friends and say some fucking horrible shit, but love them. But you can say it to someone random that you don't know and it becomes super offensive, and I understand it.
I think you can tell quite quickly whether you're going to be able to banter someone or not. Like, we'll banter each other, and we don't know each other very well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then someone else, I like to do a little, like, we'll talk about the prison thing soon.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get them, so I'm 10 minutes into this talk and I couldn't get them to crack. I'm cracking jokes that I'm even laughing at. I'm like, that's fucking funny, why are you not laughing? Things that thousands of people have laughed at. And then I'm like, how am I going to get these guys to settle down? And I said, lads, I was like, I'm going to have to stop right here. I said, I'm a bit disappointed. Looking at me, I was like, because I told the governor, anyone that sat in the front row, I was going to give a free hand job to. And you're all sat at the back. And then they looked at me for a second and they all burst out laughing. And I was like, I had to get more inappropriate with these people.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I wasn't rude enough, which was really interesting. But then there's some people I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna say that. You know, like when your nan's there.
Yeah,
my nan's here, I can't say that. Yeah.
If I bicker with you, bicker with you, if I sort of half pick on you and banter with you, that actually means I'm fond of you.
Yeah.
And I say this when I meet people straight away, and I just have a little. They say something, and I just take the piss a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, like you said,
and
if I think, oh, they might not have got that, I just say, look, I just want you to know, anyone I'm genuinely fond of, I'll get playful with.
Yeah.
That's my personality.
I get it.
I don't mean it in like a way of. But mate, I give it and I take it.
I struggle to not do it. Someone always gets a nickname.
To stay serious? Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. Like, even when I'm on the stage and I do that opening scene that's really deep, I'll go, fucking hell, that was morbid, wasn't it? And then I go back to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Break it up.
But I think that's part of what people like about what I do. Like, I'm able to bring humor to something that's quite a deadpan, taboo subject.
It's real.
I've got no problem talking about it. People are like, is there any question I can't ask? I'm like, no.
Afterlife, Ricky Gervais.
Aye. Oh, amazing.
But genius. Mm-hmm. Subjects that people, A, don't want to talk about, B, are, like you said, morbid.
Yeah.
He makes them quite, not fun, but like as fun as it can be.
Yeah, it's a really interesting.
As happy as it can be in those situations.
Yeah.
Considering, I mean, let's touch on that. So I remember we spoke in the car. So you recently did a talk in a prison in Belfast.
Yeah.
Like a motivational talk.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It was one of the most, at the same time, rewarding but terrifying experiences in my life. So I get a call, or the office gets a call from a lady who wants me to send some material for the inmates. She loves me Instagram. She said, I've listened to your books. I've listened to your audiobooks. Obviously everything you do is digital. Can you send us something? I don't know what else you've got that I could maybe print out for the inmates. I said, I'll tell you what, fuck it. I'll come in and do a talk. She said, well, but we haven't got the budget for that. I was like, fuck it, I'll come in anyway. Anyway, I haven't even thought about it too much until the day, because I've been so slammed with stuff. And the day I'm flying to, on the night before I go, I'm like, right, I'm going to Belfast. Who's got any recommendations for food? So loads of people recommend loads of amazing restaurants. It turns out I'm an hour and a half away from Belfast.
Fuck.
Then the lad that works for me, Connor's like, Paul, why the fuck would they build an airport next to a jail? She said, of course it's going to be an hour and a half away from the airport. I'm like, all right. So we go there. And I've never been in that environment before. I've done a couple of sleepovers at the local police station, but I've never done time. So never visited anyone in jail, never been in. And I pull up and I'm like, oh shit, big walls, fucking barbed wire. Oh shit, this is interesting. And then I go to the search part, like, you can only bring your laptop in. No chargers, no anything. They told me about the laptop thing needing to be charged before you go in. It's got to be able to switch on, etc. I'm like, all right, so there's just me and my laptop. And again, as we go deeper, it gets a little bit more intimidating. And I step into this, they're like, Paul, there's something like fucking 80 people have signed up for this. I'm like, shit, 80 people? I was expecting like 10 or 15. I'm like, shit, but also the more people are there, the better I do. The more people, the more I can put it on, the more I can turn it up. Mm-hmm. So I go in, it's like they've set all these chairs out in like a big old gym, like a big sports hall. So it's echoey as fuck. And all these guys are just fucking staring at me.
You've got a PA system?
Deadpan. Terrible PA system. Terrible. Microphone with a wire on it attached to like an old fucking ghetto blaster, right? So I'm like, all right, okay, let's get the laptop plugged into the projector. I'll put these slides together. The slides have got the funny things on that you've seen, right?
Yeah,
I'm like, the lads will fucking love this. Projector doesn't work. It's one of those old school ones, the ones with all the pins?
Yeah.
That's not fitting in a fucking MacBook. So I thought it would be they're all HDMI now.
Yeah.
HDMI, so it wouldn't plug in. I'm like, fuck. No slides. It's fine as long as I can see the slides, so I don't go off track. Next thing I know, clicker's not working. I haven't got the adapter. Can't go back out of the car for it. As I'm doing this, 10 guys just get up and walk out. Governor's like, don't worry about them. They've just got to go about their business. They just wanted to be seen here. They've got to go and do their wheeling and dealing, whatever that is. So I'm like, shit, right. Sound system's terrible. Projector doesn't work. Clicker's not working. There's just me, a microphone, and fucking 70 blokes just fucking staring at me. Right?
Nervous?
All of me training starts to come into play, right? I'm like, lads, just going to go for a quick pace. I go for the piss and then I start doing that thing where they open all the gates. There's a gate open, one closes. I'm like, shit, this is the real deal. So I'm a bit nervous. And mate, I've been speaking since 2006. It's a long time. You've seen me on stage.
Of course.
I'm fairly experienced at it, right?
Yeah, I've seen you.
I've spoken all over the world. Fucking Puerto Rico is the maddest place I've been to for a talk. But I'm all of me trainings having to come in here. I'm intimidated. I'm nervous. I'm uncertain. And this is something that I've done this keynote hundreds of times. I've done it in front of a fucking theatre full of people, right? No problem at all. And I've never felt like this on the stage since 2006. Scared, intimidated, uncertain. It's very unfamiliar to me. And even then, I'm like, right, first couple of minutes, I'll be fine. I always am. I know this off by heart. I don't need the slides. It's a shame that they can't see them because I'm going to have to explain it now. 10 minutes in, mate, normally I've got people on the, like literally in the palm of my hand after a minute. 10 minutes in, they're still just fucking staring at me. I haven't had a single laugh. I've said at the start, who knows what a life coach is? Because I'm going to tell this great joke. Who knows what a life coach is? Well, I'm not one of them cunts. I'm more likely to tell you to live, laugh and fuck off than I am to tell you to live, laugh and love. Not a single laugh. Never seen anyone. They've never seen a speaker. They don't know what a life coach is. They don't really know what personal development is. And I'm like, shit. And then I crack that joke and everything's fine. By the end, mate, they're all coming over to say thank you. They're loving it. And I felt, honestly, it was really weird. That felt really good. It was like, I've done a lot of talks. I've done a lot of mental health stuff. I've spoken for campaigning against living miserably all over the country. I've done all that stuff. And this was just a different feeling. And then the governor takes me on a tour of the jail. I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. And I go in where all the sex offenders are. That's just weird, obviously. They keep them separate of the rest of the prison. And then I go in the main H blocks. And in this one, it's 200 guys. Only a few of them have seen me in that gym. Only a few of them have came over to say thank you. And they're all just fucking staring at me. They must be thinking, who's this prick with a governor? Do you know what I mean? Who's this fucking prick with a governor?
Yeah.
He hasn't got a suit on, so he's not a suit. He's fucking got, like, I've got a pair of fucking, what have I got on? I've got a pair of off-whites on. Who's this cunt here?
Fuck.
They're all staring at me, and it's really loud. And it's like, it's the stairs in the middle, the net, so people can't fucking jump off the thing. Everything I saw in the movies, I would see. Cells are fucking tiny. All staring. Next thing I know, someone shouts, Paul Mort's a fucking legend. And I'm like, shit. Next thing I know, lads are showing me around their cell. This is me family. This is that. I'm like, wow. And then I go out in the yard and I start talking to a couple of lads and I just they're asking me questions about stuff. Where you from? What do you do? How much money do you make?
Yeah.
How could I do that? What books should I read? And the next thing I know is just 100 guys around this table and they're asking me questions. It was up there with the top 3 most fulfilling things I've ever done. It was amazing. And I didn't want to go. The governor was like, you're going to have to go. I was like, I don't want to go. Can I not just stay? They're like, you've got a flight to catch. I was like, shit. And honestly, mate, it was unbelievable. But I was like, do you know what? My wife said to me, and this is big-headed as fuck, but it's the truth. She said, I don't know anybody else that does what you do that would have gone into that jail and done that. Not just because you did it for free, but stepping into that through the fucking doors and then the shit with the projector and that. She's like, I'm so proud of you. But I was like, actually, you know what? You're right. But I wouldn't have got those. I was inspired. I was intrigued. I was fulfilled. My heart was full as fuck. And I wouldn't have got that unless I was willing to step through that uncertainty, that, do you know what I mean? That feeling of being intimidated. I wouldn't have got that without that. And then the next day, gets a message of someone on Facebook. She says, Paul, I'm so-and-so. You went to the McGilligan jail yesterday. You inspired me, son. He's wrote me this letter.
Wow.
What were the 2 books you recommended? I said, I'll tell you what, I'll send you them and I'll send you mine. Sent like 5 books. Then she showed me a picture of the letter and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then the other lesson from that, I was like, do you know what? If you want to impact people, because everyone says they want to have a positive impact on people, but you've got to have the fucking courage to do the shit that's uncomfortable. Yep. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would never have got any of that experience that I had. And it was weird because I've had fulfillment before, but this was like a different button had been pushed that I'd never been in that environment. I met these lads and the banter was top banter, by the way.
I can
top
imagine.
Banter, aye. They were right into me. Oh, mate. They were right into me. They'd just never seen anyone that does what I do it. And I was like, just so you guys know, this is not, the way I do it isn't normal. Yeah.
It's quite a new thing, life coaching anyway, isn't it?
It is,
Like,
it is.
what we're talking.
I mean, it's got a bad rep.
30 years?
It's also got a terrible rep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got that live, life, love rep. It's got that fucking positive thinking rep. And people in England especially can't get on board with it. I remember doing a podcast in London. Haskell invited me on his podcast. He said, Paul, why does your stuff work so well for men? I'm like, well, it's practical as fuck. What I teach is very practical. Do this, answer this question, read this, get in that cold shower, do X, Y, and Z, and it's very doable. And I have, because of my background and because of where I'm from, because of my level of intelligence of where it's at, I can explain things in a very simple way, and I can use analogies that men just fucking get. Do you know what I mean?
You're using real life scenarios, real life that you've lived,
yes,
rather than long words from a dictionary.
Yes, or rather than someone that's fucking decided, who's like a fucking 18-year-old who's never experienced anything, who's decided to become a life coach.
So this is what I was going to ask you. I mean, what do you think makes you or anyone an expert in motivation or coaching?
So for me, it's results. Not just, it started with my personal results, but we were saying before that I fucking worked with 4,000 people. I wouldn't have been doing it for so long. People wouldn't keep coming back. People wouldn't stay with me as long. I'm not winning these awards. I'm not getting Fury on my podcast. I'm not getting Ant on my podcast. I'm not getting published. You're not getting published by the second biggest publisher in the world unless you're getting results. Mate, that book that I did with Harper, it started off as it was going to be tips and tricks from me, but the producer interviewed, she said, Paul, you got any clients I could like interview to get like quotes from them and that? The whole book turned into case studies because she was so blown away by the results that these guys that just spoken to were getting. It wasn't even about me in the end. The start was about me, but the rest of it was these guys' life stories and the turnarounds that they've had. People that were homeless, people that were alcoholics, people that were suicidal, people whose marriages were on the verge of fucking falling apart. That's what makes, in my opinion, me. I wouldn't even necessarily say an expert. I'd say I'm a specialist at helping people that want to get their shit together, or working with them, not helping them.
You're getting results though. What I'm trying to get at is, obviously, I've noticed in the last, probably since COVID, life coaches are popping up left, right, and fucking centre. They're everywhere.
I'll tell you exactly why that is.
When we were in IFS last year, there was 100 of them.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to understand is, without like being horrible to them, is if you're 18, 19, 20 and you've never lived anything, never experienced anything, do you have the credentials to be a life coach?
It's a really interesting question, because
without knocking them.
This is a real mad distinction to make, but there's a difference between coaching and mentoring. I can do both, and mentoring usually comes from life experiences. Mentoring people is telling people what to do, giving them advice. Coaching is actually just, the best coaches just ask great questions. So I won Master Coach of the Year because I've got no problem. They actually said this, the second time I won it, this guy will ask the most awkward, uncomfortable, said he's got the courage to ask horrible, hard questions that cause people to have breakthroughs. That's why I won it. So the best coaches are actually not the ones, the thing is, for people that answer the questions, they've got to have a level of respect for you. And for men especially, that's got to come from what you've done, who you are. Do you know what I mean? Are you who you say you are?
Completely.
So they'll answer. So you've got to have both. The best coaches will be the ones that produce some results. Like, really, think about this. The best footballers don't make the best coaches.
True.
But what I do know is
the best coaches don't necessarily make the best footballers.
No, they don't. They don't. But usually, the highest level have played football at some level because that makes the players respect them, but they can also coach. So there's a bit of both. So I'm like, okay, I've got these results. which means that people will come towards me. So people will pay me money for results, but inside of the game, I'm getting those results with them because I'm asking them horrible questions. Like I asked someone yesterday was kicking off about something. I was like, are you open to the possibility that you might have played some impact? You might have played some part in this. She was like, no. I said, so what are you doing about, like, people like to blame other people in circumstances, and I've got no problem asking them a question that triggers the fucking life out of them.
Yeah.
So with men especially, sometimes I've got to fucking butt heads with them. Whereas most life coaches, again, I'm not saying most, some life coaches would just do blowing some cheerleading. What I do is not cheerleading. So I'll praise people, I'll give them credit, I'll help them with their confidence, but if I need to tell you what's up, I'll tell you what's up.
It's a super interesting concept because historically, if we look at old school mentality of thinking, mentoring or experience come from time.
Yes.
So we would say, you're 5 years older than me, so I have to listen to you. It's an old school church mentality, listen to your elders because you've got 5 years more experience than me. Yeah. That was like the historical method. But really now it is interesting because now it doesn't necessarily work like that.
No, does it?
You can have a 20-year-old because of the way the world's going, much more switched on, much more available to deliver.
Guy from Gymshark.
There you go. Deliver what's needed in that particular. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Deliver what's needed in that particular marketplace. Yeah. They might be 20 years younger than you.
Because time spent in the game doesn't really mean anything, right?
It doesn't. It's just because we've got like your Richard Bransons, your Warren Buffetts, and you just presume you presume that your life coach needs to be an 80-year-old middle-class white guy that's got 5 private jets. And
you look at that, mate. Look at this jiu-jitsu analogy, right? That's all over, right? So me and James Smith, started jiu-jitsu at the same time.
Yeah.
He got his blue belt like fucking 3 years before me. But then we're talking about, I was like, is it because he's younger? Is it because he's fit? Is it because he played rugby? And what it turned out was actually, I was training twice a week. He was training 5 times a week. So we had the same amount of time in the game, but he had more
intense
frequency, more intensity. So that's the similar kind of thing, right? Yeah. It's like about the results you're producing the time that you've had, not total time.
Yeah. That Gymshark guy, Ben France, great example. Like 17, 18 starts a business, not even 30, I don't know, but if he is a billionaire at 30, right? Yeah. So what that guy's done in 12 years, some people have done in 50 years.
Yeah, all those old guys are going out of business now anyway, because they haven't adapted. You got your fucking top shops and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all going out of business, which is a shame.
The jiu-jitsu analogy is a really good one as well.
Oh, it is. Just show up more. If you want to get better faster, show up more often. Yeah. And do it harder.
Yeah.
So what you do with it, you how you get better at socials. You post once a week on social and expect it to grow. So another example, so my son likes YouTube, right? We went to a YouTuber show the other week. Actually, it was funny. This guy, Dan TDM, right?
Yeah.
In fact, Ed Sheeran, have you seen that new documentary with Sheeran on it?
No.
He says something. He says loads of smart shit all the way through, right? He's a genius. He said when he first started, his colleagues were doing like 1 show a week. So he'd do 3 shows a day.
Wow.
That's the difference there. So he's like, all my colleagues are doing like 1 gig a night. He said, I'm doing 3 a night. Every night. They were doing 1 a week. He was doing 3 a night. So they're getting 1 show in, he's doing 21. So he's clearly going to get better and be more successful faster.
I've seen Smith saying when we were at his Apollo tour, same thing about social media in general. You just got to keep posting.
Yeah.
Keep showing up, keep showing up, keep posting, keep showing up. I think this
in business all the time. I'm like, they start to make a bit of money and they stop doing the things that made them work. I hate it. You'll have seen this in your game, mate.
I've actually been caught in that.
Have you? New businesses come along and they kill it when they first start. And then they just expect people to keep showing up. Like
without pioneering, without staying
without doing something different. This drives me insane because it makes me sad. I'll see a local restaurant come in, like an artisan pizza place where they do pizza by the slice. And they'll come in and they'll smash it. And then a year later, they're gone.
Yeah.
And they're blaming cost of living. I'm like, mate, I can't get a fucking booking in the most expensive restaurants in the country.
Yeah.
How's that? They're better than you. Their product's better. And they're better at marketing. I look on your socials, I'm like, mate, you fucking post once a week. Mm-hmm. It's not cost of living, it's you. Do you know what I mean? It makes me sad because I'm like, how can you not get that?
I've done similar. Me, us, the team, all of us. You know, let's say, I'll give you an example. The club, let's say, there's been periods in our decade that we've been there that we've been fucking having it off, right? Pioneering. I've got friends ringing me from all other clubs around the country going,
how are you doing?
Our marketing department looks at what you guys do and that's how we decide what we're doing. You're pioneering.
Yeah.
Great. And you get to a point where you're taking loads of dough, making loads of profit. And I don't know if it's greed or human nature or whatever. It kicks in and you start going, right, we probably don't need to give out 5,000 flyers anymore because we're fucking killing it. Mm-hmm. So we save 50 quid there.
And you don't notice it at first.
We don't need to do radio anymore. We don't need to do posters anymore. We don't need to do as much ads. Let's do £200 of ads instead of 300. And there's like layers of an onion. And it's like turning the Titanic as a ship. Yeah. And we don't realize we're 0.1 degree now off course, right? And we can't there's the iceberg and we can't see it.
Yeah.
In a year's time, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And everyone's looking at what we've done last month.
Yes. That's just the lag effect.
But they forget.
Yeah. Mate,
it's a year ago's decision.
Trades are so bad for this, So builders, they'll market really hard, get loads of deals done. And while they're fulfilling, they stop marketing. And then they say, work's dried up. Mate, look back 3 months. You were fulfilling, not marketing. You've got to get the balance right. Have you read that? Have you seen that quote? I think it's from the compound effect or something, where it's like if a plane nose is off 1%, right, and it flies a certain distance, it actually ends up in a different country.
I can imagine.
One of them was a different continent, 1%. So that's like the lag effect. But I see that all the time in most trades.
And then
kills it, markets really hard, fulfills, stops marketing, and then because you don't notice it first. But then the lag effect is actually this is what happens. It's like you don't get fat in a week.
No,
you get fat over time. You don't lose weight.
You don't even notice it.
Nah.
I looked in the mirror this morning, genuinely, and I am overweight.
Summer wake-up call.
I don't even know where it's come from.
I got fluffy.
You
wear tighter t-shirts. You wear tighter t-shirts. You get your shorts back out. You swap the joggers for jeans with a button on it. Oh, shit. Boxers are folded over on the top. I hate that. That's when I know. Do you know when the waistband of your boxers folds over? I'm like, fucking hell, it's time.
And then you get to, and then sort of talking back to that ship thing, and then then there's like a panic.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to bring it back on course.
Yeah.
But it's 3 months to get back onto course.
Yeah.
So like,
can't stop, man.
Like life coaches or therapists or all these books you read, they talk to you about like, if you're feeling down or it's tough, times are tough, journal.
Yeah.
And one thing that I did a lot during COVID, which I found is I first started journaling all the shit like you did, all the negative shit.
Yeah.
And I never journaled when I was having a really good month because there was nothing to moan about.
Yeah.
But I quickly realized, actually, if I could journal the times when I was flying high, when I felt shit, I could refer to that journal and have a look at what I was doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was running every day. I was exercising every day. I was getting fresh air. Yeah. I was eating clean. I was meeting my friends. I was socializing. All these things. I was getting some sun. I was getting some sea.
Yeah.
But you forget it when you get into a bad position. I've journaled
almost every day since 2019.
Have you?
Almost every day, but I do it in a slightly different way. So I do what's called prompted journaling, where prompted journal is basically I just answer questions. So I created the question. Like I have my own journal that all my clients use. And I ask questions like, how do I want to feel today?
Same questions every day?
Yeah. How do I want to feel today? Why do I want to feel like that? So creating some leverage. Okay, what's one thing I could do to feel like that? Then I've got like, who needs me to show up today and have a positive impact on them? What's one thing I could do today to move me closer to my goals? Who could I express appreciation to today? How will I know today's been awesome? And then questions. So every morning, and basically, so if we say the question, remember I was talking about attention, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So I believe that questions are the steering wheel of the mind. So if I want to steer myself towards empowerment and positivity, I've just got to ask a great question. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when we do meetings, what are meetings normally about? Problems, right? So the first thing we ask in a meeting, what are 3 great things that happened this week? Instant positivity. It's an invitation to positivity. When I'm coaching someone, the worst question you could ever ask someone as a coach is, how are you? How are you doing? How are you doing is a fucking invitation to straight up positivity. Negativity, sorry. Straight up negativity. It's an invitation to complain. How are you? Which is fine if you're just speaking to someone, but in a coaching format, I'm not doing that. Like, tell me something great that's happened this week. Or I'll say, what do you want to resolve today? And I just get straight down to fucking business. How are you? Such a fucking terrible question.
Mate,
it's weird to say that, isn't it?
No, it's good. And the reason why I think it's good, I'm an ambassador for Dorset Mind, as you know.
Yeah.
I've done my mental health first aid training.
Yeah.
And I've just never thought of it in the way you've said it. We're trained to go, how are you, Paul?
Yeah.
And then we're trained to ask it a second time, because the first time's your default answer.
I don't think it's bad, but I can't.
No, but you're right.
It's interesting.
Why would you ask such an open-ended...
Steering your mind towards disempowering feelings. I'm like, tell me about the best part of your week this week. Tell me 3 great things that happened this week. Tell me something that you've done that's moved you closer to your goal. Tell me about a compliment someone's gave you this week. Do you know what I mean?
Great questions.
What's been a magic moment for you this month? Look in your phone. This is what I'll do this on Monday. Look at your phone. I want you to pull out the 20 best photos of you this month. And those are your magic moments this month. And when you look at them, guess what happens? When you look at those photos where you were fucking having a great time, how do you feel while you're looking at it? You feel fucking good. You start to create the emotion all over again. Do you know what I mean? So I ask that question every day as well. What were 3 wins that I had today? Why is it a win? How can I make progress on that again today? Who's someone that had an impact on today? What I learned today? So I'm asking good questions that direct me towards feeling good, not feeling shit. Do you know what I mean? Because we're very good at feeling like shit. We're great at it. We're world class at it. Some people are so good at it, they don't even know they're doing it. Do you know what I mean? They don't. I say this all the time. The problem that we've got is people, we're not being shown how to feel. Even this fucking mental health message of just talk. I'm like, talking doesn't cook fucking rice. It's not a bad thing to make you feel like you're not alone and give you some relief. But for most people, it's not actually going to solve fuck all. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Action's the fucking answer. There's so many, honestly, mate, in the mental health game, there's so many things that I've just got a bit of a problem with. No one wants to talk about certain things.
The fundamental was always right. I just feel like it's got washed up with so much of it. Yeah. There's so much of it now that you almost switch off. And I was going to ask you about that.
Mate, I'm almost like, have you thought about stopping doing that?
Yeah.
Never mind start talking. What about if, before you started doing that, what if you stop fucking taking that?
Bang on the money.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a problem. I only do it on a weekend. But on a Monday, you complain about anxiety because your fucking liver's working overtime to detox that fucking
you need 3 days to recover. Wednesday, you recovered. Thursday, you have a lovely day. Friday, you're back on
No one wants to talk about it because it's just social. It's like if you're not an addict, then you haven't got a problem. Actually, that's create. I said the other day, and it came out of nowhere. I was like, do you know what? When I got to a Friday, I used to think all my problems had gone because it was Friday. But actually, it was what I was doing on a weekend that were creating most of my problems through the week. Do you know what I'm saying?
Cyclical.
It's just a way, and that's just, we're just taught like that.
Chris Williamson tweeted something that really resonated with me. I screenshotted it about saying alcohol's the only drug that when you don't take people,
you have to justify. You have to justify it. Yeah. And I had this thing with me, so I haven't posted about it much recently. So I'm 18 months booze free. I decided I don't know whether I'm going to drink again. I just decided to do a year. Then when I got to a year, I'd actually planned on getting on it. And then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm a year in here. Hangover will be horrendous. It was the day before Christmas Eve. I was like, I don't want to be hungover. Flying to Thailand on Boxing Day, fuck that. So I got to that point, I was like, fuck it, I'll do another year. But I kind of don't want to talk about it because I don't want people to think that to come and work with me, I'm going to tell you not to drink. I don't want to become the vegan CrossFitter.
Yeah.
That's preaching about it all the time. So it's a very fine balance, that as well. I'm like, if you stop drinking, your life will be radically different.
So if you went back to drinking now, you could control your drink now?
I could do one night on the sesh, but then be fucked for a week. I wouldn't be able to have a couple. It's drinks like quicksand for me.
Is it?
Aye. So I'd rather just
all or nothing.
Aye. Right now, I'm just not going to bother with the quicksand. Mate, do you know what? My life's changed so much in the last 2 years. It doesn't have room for booze anymore. There's no room. There's nowhere for it to fit. Do you know what I mean? And mate, I don't have a boring life. Do you know what I mean? People tell, oh, you only live once and that. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm not spending time in bed, hungover.
Yeah.
And I'm not there.
I know you're everywhere.
Do you know what I mean? I'm everywhere. I'm doing shit. I'm taking my kids everywhere. I'm traveling. I'm trying to make things happen. I'm trying to create. When my life ends, right? I've had a couple of wake-up calls recently. One of them was only a few weeks ago that I realized something. So one of my best friends died in 2021 of a heart attack, 45, right? Kids are the same age as mine. My kids loved him, right? He's my barber. I'd actually seen him 3 days before he died as well. He opened his barber shop just for me because I'm a hairy bastard. Illegally, had to go in the back doors and everything. He died. And I was like, fucking hell. You know when people say we're not here forever? No one ever does anything about it. We know you don't get time back, but no one really does anything about it. But that woke me up. And then even a few weeks ago, mate, I'm at a funeral. One of my friends' dads died of cancer. He'd been ill for a while. And I actually went a bit morbid. I was saying when the funeral, I'm like, can you play this song at my funeral? She said, stop talking about your funeral. I was like, I got loads of good ideas from the funeral. It was one of those funerals though. Do you know when people say we're going to celebrate his life? Never really happens that, I don't think. This one was fucking incredible. Like the funeral was amazing. And I just came out of there. I'm like, do you know what? If I get cancer, which is 1 in 2 people, right? If I get cancer, I want to look back at my life and I want to say it to the kids. Remember when we did that? Remember when we went there? Remember that time I fell over there? Remember that time we seen that woman having a piss? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that just fills me up. So I feel like I'm collecting. In fact, I seen an advert. You know Ewan McGregor?
Yeah.
Did an advert for Expedia where he said, are you going to remember the things you didn't buy or the places you didn't go and the things you didn't see and the people you didn't meet? I try and create my life around that now. Who do I want to meet? Who do I want my kids to meet? Where do I want to travel? What do I want to see? What stadiums do I want to go to? Who do I want to see play? Do you know what I mean?
So we've got.
I was a bit gutted when Bellingham went to Real Madrid because I really want to go to Dortmund. You've seen that yellow wall thing?
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to do both now.
Yeah.
My son doesn't want to go to Dortmund anymore. I was like, I'll go on my own, fuck you. But yeah, mate, that's just where I'm at right now. I'm like, if I think about it, I think the best part about being human is the experiences that you get to have.
The memories, yeah.
Yeah, but you got to make them happen. That's how
do you coach quite a lot of people now, don't you?
Hundreds of people, and I'm the only coach in my business. People are like, what? It's one of my selling points.
Hundreds a week, hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, hundreds a week. I don't pass you on anyone else. Like, I'm not saying, sign up with me, and then you get passed on to that, because that happens all the time in my industry. I don't do anything else, though. Like, I don't do any onboarding. I don't do any fucking admin. I only talk.
Yeah.
I'm just so happens I'm good at it. Yeah. Right? But it's like, I'm coaching a lot of people every week. Sorry, mate. What was your question?
No. Carry on. I was more going to say, like, how do you talked about this positive mindset thing.
Yeah.
Now, I can get up and journal. I can go to bed the night before going, right, I'm going to make a difference tomorrow.
Yeah.
I get up in the morning, I go for my run, I fucking feel $1 million, dopamine's going, have a shower, get on my emails.
Yeah.
And
the shower's cold, isn't it? Of course it is. Of course it is.
And then there's 3 calls that come in that ruin my fucking day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because of what will make the calls mean. It's not the call that's the problem. It's your thoughts about the call that are the problem every time. But I believe that one of the problems with positive thinking is that when you're not positive, you think there's something wrong with you. You actually think about this, right? If there's no positive without a negative, because there isn't, there's no negative without a positive, then by default, you're only supposed to be positive 50% of the time. So I'm just okay with that. Do you know what I mean? People think when they're not happy all the time, there's something wrong with them. I'm like, if you didn't know what unhappiness was, happiness wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's a 50-50 balance. Something will always happen to remind you that life is fucking about polarity. Always.
It's really, really good. Really powerful.
I'll come off the stage.
Like a positive and a negative charge, always.
All the time.
It can't be one or the other.
My next book's about living an electric life. And one of them is you have to have the positive and negative thought to get to neutral. Life's neutral as fuck. Because you think about love, right? People think love is about positivity and just... people confuse love with infatuation, right? And I'm like, if you think about someone that you love, I'm going to guarantee that you could tell me 10 things that you can't fucking stand about that person. Your wife, my kids, I fucking hate it when he does that, but I love them anyway. Like the other ones, if I only see positives in something, it's infatuation. That's what love is, right? So loving what is, loving life is, you can't love anything that you don't know both sides of. You love business, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not always positive.
No.
So I'm just accepting that. You think about this, something will always happen to remind you of that as well. Like I'll be having a great week and I'm expecting something not so great to happen. So that when it does happen, I'm not that emotional about it. Do you know what I mean? I used to get this, think about this.
Expecting it's the powerful thing, isn't it?
It is. I'm okay with it. How am I going to deal with it when it comes? A lot of people think that's negative thinking, but I'm like, no, it's actually neutral as fuck. I'm neutral about it, so I don't get too carried away with the positives and I don't get too carried away with the negatives. It's like, I used to think this, I used to get a come down when I was on the stage. So I'd go from being in front of, the maddest place I've spoke is Puerto Rico. That was only last year though. I once spoke in Hollywood, right? And I fucking smashed it, right? This was 2013 or something. I'd come home and I'd just be the guy that hadn't emptied the fucking dishwasher. So I'd go from being superhero, everyone fucking standing ovation. I mean, why would be like, if you put the fucking bins out? And I couldn't, do you know what I mean? I couldn't deal with that. But now I'm like, this is how I can deal with criticism so well. Because I'm like, they're just keeping me fucking humble.
Yeah.
If everyone's blowing smoke up your ass, you expect somebody to tell you to kill yourself. That happens every day, by the way.
Mate, that what you just said, that piece is so humbling.
You'll get that.
I've
my wife's
been and done something and come back and Mrs. like, literally, the bin's got to go out. Or
she's just keeping your feet on the ground. Just keeping your feet on the ground, making sure you don't get carried away. Yeah. I was like, you're so negative, you. And I'm just like, actually, no, you just keep me humble.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's class.
Yeah. And once I get that, I'm like, I've got no problem being. And sometimes some negative thought like that's exactly what I need to wake me the fuck up. Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever had someone on your course that was in a difficult spot? Mm-hmm. You wanted to help them, you couldn't help them,
yes,
and you now
let them go.
Think about that.
Nah, not really, because because.
Do you know what I mean? Like I wish I could have done more for them.
I used to think I could save people, but then I realized, A, I'm not a lifeguard. B, the person was swimming away from me. They're swimming away from me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I heard this guy called Sean Stevenson. He's quite a famous speaker in America. He had like no arms or legs, right?
Yeah.
Very inspirational guy. He died recently. And he was on the stage and he was talking about what coast guards do if a ship goes down. They can't save everybody because they don't have time. So they save the people first and they sometimes only save the people that are swimming towards them. If you're standing still and the ship's going down, there's a high likelihood I'm not going to be able to save you. So that's just where, because I used to take it personally. I'm fucking telling you what to do and you're not doing it and you still complain about me misery. What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
And then I'm actually just swimming away from me. I've realized that I've actually, even when people pay me, I've got no right to help them. I've got no right to help anybody. They've got to, it's help's an invitation. And I've turned down a lot of invitations to a lot of parties, particularly in the last couple of years, right?
I can imagine.
But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've turned down a lot of invitations. So I'm like, help's an invitation. But for me, the best invitation is being an example. Being the example. I'm like, why the fuck would you listen to him? You know what I mean? Like when someone's giving you advice and you're like, mate, I'm not going to take your advice. You're the fucking worst example ever. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for me, I do wish I could help more people, but ultimately I had to learn the hard way that I can't save people. And because Ollie Alderton was on one of the SAS Who Dares Win show and someone almost dragged him under. Can you remember that one?
I remember. Yeah.
If someone wants to drown, I'll offer them a raft. I'll offer them whatever it takes, but I'm not getting in with them because a lot of people will drag you under with them. I've realized that the people that I spend the most time and energy on are always the ones that are the ones swimming away.
Interesting.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're swimming away.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
And I would spend so much time and energy on the people that just, even if they paid me, I spend the most time and energy chasing these people down that ignore me, would fucking call them, would email them, they'd ignore us. And I was like, I'm forgetting about the people that are actually doing it, that are actually fucking invested, that are actually living it. And I'd forget about these people. So now I've just decided to focus more energy on the people that are actually in the game. If you're swimming away from me, it's not a game of fucking hide and seek, mate. That's not me thing. I will do what it takes to help you, but I can't read your fucking mind.
I watched a clip on TikTok. We were talking about TikTok earlier, and it was from a famous actor. Can't remember his name, old school actor now, and he was saying about not being able to help people that don't want to be helped. And he was basically saying a good person can't always bring a bad person up with them, but a bad person can always bring a good person down.
Yeah. That's if the good person wants to go with them. Yeah.
And it really resonated with me.
I've also seen an amazing cartoon, and it's a cartoon. It's a guy stranded on a desert island, and he's got wood, so wood off the ship that's gone down. And there's two different things. On one of them, he's made a sign saying help. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's quite smart. And then the other one, he's built a raft. Do you know what I mean? Like that, yeah. So when people say, oh, Paul, I need your help, I'm like, what do you need? I just need your help. I'm like, help to do what? I'm not going to fucking meditate for you.
One's like virtue signaling in modern day.
I'm not going to come to your house and do it for you, mate. I've given you my book for free. I've given you my course for free. I've given you all of this. How else can I help you? You have to at some point say, I'm willing to do the work now. Yeah. I can't save you. And I find that quite difficult to say sometimes. When you say help, what do you mean? Well, I just need your help. To do what? Well, can you ring me? No. What's that going to do? I've told you what to do. It's up to you now.
Yeah.
It's hard when you get so many messages.
That help piece you just said is really
powerful.
Yeah, because some people say, no,
you've got the tools.
What do you want help? Do you want me to help paint something? Do you want me to lift something?
Here are the tools. You can either build a raft, or you can continue, or you can use the tools to fucking keep asking for help. I'm not going to, if I called you, bear in mind you're not paying me, if I called you, I'm not going to tell you anything different.
Of course.
I'm going to tell you exactly what I've told you on that book that I spent 6 months writing and gave you for free. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you can't ring everyone.
Nah.
You can't ring everyone. Like that. I just think that part of your job must be quite difficult. That's
very difficult telling people no.
Trying to save everyone.
Yeah. Even with people that pay me money, it's just difficult. That's why I have she was an executive. She's kind of executive assistant and a head of client success. She has to protect me time because I will just say yes to everything. I'll just say yes to everything. I'm terrible. She has to, because I'm too nice. Yeah, people want to meet me for coffee. Someone said, oh, Paul, I'd love to meet you for coffee. I'm like, I bet you would. My wife would like to meet us for coffee as well. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it's hard. But back in the day, I'd do all of that.
Yeah.
I can't give myself to everybody. Otherwise, there's nothing left for me. And that's the mistake that I made the last time. I sacrificed everything to make money. And this time, I'm not willing to sacrifice my health for someone else's.
Boundaries.
Boundaries. And I'm like, listen, the more time I spend doing this backwards and forwards with you, the less time I'm spending with my family. And I'm sorry, I want to help you, but this is my priority here. I've already missed fucking 2 years of their life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't remember the first 2 years of my son's life. I've literally, my memory from that time is, I was so all over the place emotionally that mentally my memory's so bad. I see videos, I'm like, I can't remember even doing that. And this is fucking 2014.
It's not even that long
Nah,
ago.
I can't remember shit. I did a podcast with my friend. He was like, hey, remember that time I got really high and did this in Marbella? I was like, nah. Remember that time you told me that? I was like, nah, no memory at all. Wild. Part of me probably doesn't want to remember either.
It's probably.
I mean, I could get counselling and keep talking about it, but I can't see what I'm going to get from that at all. Yeah.
Talk to me about this. When you said you're turning down jobs.
Yes.
Was there not like an Arab or someone offered you loads of dough?
Yeah. So this clip's already on TikTok, getting a lot of hate, so you don't need to put it on again.
Okay, sorry.
So I got a message of one of my clients, financial advisor, works with a lot of expats in UAE. He lived there for years. And he said, listen, I've been approached for this job for you. He said, he'll give you 6 figures. Go and live with him for a month. He's a real mess. Go and live with him for a month in London. I was like, listen, my wife was like, you sure you don't want to do it? Are you sure it'd be a great thing for you to talk about? I'm like, yeah, but I can talk about it saying I turned it down. But the reality is, mate, I would have loved to have done it. But living with somebody for a month, for me, I'm like, that's not coaching. That's babysitting. Coaching is allowing people to have their own experiences, asking great questions so they have a breakthrough and taking new actions. Can't give someone new actions every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Implement this, get a habit with it, do this next. But then I was like, I'd have to spend a month away from my kids. Listen, it would be like being employed. And I haven't been employed for a long time, like 22 years. So I'll be told when to do and what to do and when to do it. That's not me. I'd have to actually let down people that are already paying me because I wouldn't be able, and I'm loyal to them. And then the prospect of being away from my kids for a month was just not worth any amount of money. You know what I mean? It's just, I would miss a month of that life.
Yeah.
Also, they'd tell me in no uncertain terms what they thought about it. They hate it when I go anywhere and don't take them. Like, Dad, can we not come? Can I not come? Dad, I want to come to Through Dark. Dad, can I come with you? I love that. Can you get us a t-shirt then? All right, I'll get you a t-shirt.
You shot yourself in the foot with them, taking them everywhere.
Being cheaper just to bring them. But yeah, it's the prospect of a month away just didn't appeal to me at all. Then I was like, shall I do it? It's 100 grand. That mean I could probably take a bit of extra time off with 100 grand. I could pay for that fucking stupid car that I've bought and still haven't got. But then I was like, the juice wouldn't have been worth the squeeze to me. And I mean,
month is a long time.
And people think I'm mad. They're like, oh, you must have too much money. I'm like, you could offer me 200 and I still wouldn't do it.
But those people saying that probably not as aware or don't understand or don't know what you know.
And because, mate, when I was at rock bottom, I was doing 30 grand a month profit in me pocket. Do you know what I mean? I've been there with money. I've been there with money and I was miserable as fuck. Do you know what I mean? It done.
Your priorities have changed.
They have changed, and don't get me wrong, mate. I love money. I want all of it. But there's things I'm willing to do to get it and things that I'm not.
I respect that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's not just about how much you get paid. It's what you do to get paid as well. It's a big deal to me that. I turn down speaking gigs quite regularly. I'm like, if not, now the condition is, you have to bring me family. Mm-hmm. The Puerto Rico gig that I got offered was with Gary V. You know Gary V, right? Yeah,
of course.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
Puerto Rico, we'll fly out for a week. Put you in Puerto Rico. I said, if I come, you have to bring me family. You have to pay for me family to come as well, and they did. So my kids have met Gary V and shit. It's amazing. My daughter said it was the best week of her life in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Because they were the only kids at the event. They're seeing guys. There's a guy there who's got 120 gym franchises. Hundreds of millions. And they're getting to hang out with these people and see them on the stage. And do you know what I mean? And that's a big deal for them. But I'm like, if it's not, it's a week away from them.
Mate, those experiences you're giving those children are honestly priceless.
It is.
Invaluable.
Part of me's like, they're spoilt little fuckers here.
They won't understand it, I'll be honest. They won't yet. Maybe when they get to our age,
my
they'll
son's
understand
getting there now.
Yeah.
Mate, I caught him listening to, you know Andy Frisella?
Yeah.
I caught him listening to an Andy Frisella podcast the other week.
That's cool.
Language is terrible in it.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But I'm like, I didn't even mention it to him because I didn't want to make a deal of it. And I was like, Leslie, he's listening to Frisella. That is fucking cool. 12 years old.
Really good.
12 years old.
Yeah.
I did, but I've learned the lesson from forcing things on them. Did it with jiu-jitsu, did it with football. Now I'm like, if he wants to listen to it, cool, but I'm not going to make him. If he likes it and he gets value from it, he'll keep doing it. If he doesn't, he won't. But I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
That is very
pretty
cool. That
aye.
age.
Aye.
But that's what I'm saying. They probably won't actually appreciate it.
I put it on in the car. We'd been where'd we been? Oh, we did. We did. So when the championship season finished, we decided we'd been to so many games. I was like, I'm not ready for the season to finish yet. So 2 days before, I managed to get tickets for Man United against Chelsea. Amazing. And driving home, so basically I picked him up from school, went to the game, slept in Manchester, got up at 5 o'clock the next morning, took him back to school. On the way back, I had that podcast on. Next thing I know, the weekend he's listening to them. I was like, wow. I didn't push it on him. I didn't force it on him. I didn't say you should listen to this. He just did it.
Subliminal, that was.
Cool.
Subliminally.
Aye. But it's just like...
Can't you listen to mine in the car with him?
Not the flat earth guy.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was quite a cool moment for me, that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think part of me, there's probably some guilt there about what I was like for the first 2 years. Didn't have a fucking clue. There's probably some part of me that's like, you are going to leave these fuckers behind. You are going to let them grow up with no dad. And that's still there. Do you know what I mean? That's still there for me. But yeah, and like I was saying to you before, I have a lot of fun with them. I like hanging out with them. The daredevils, they force me to do shit. They force me to get uncomfortable. I mean, I'd never been on a roller coaster until last year. I'd never even been on a water slide, a big one, until my son would have been 8. So you're talking 4 years ago, when I was in the Atlantis, and they forced me to go on the leap of faith. And I fell in love with it. I've started to become a daredevil. I hadn't been on a roller coaster until I was 41 years old. That's insane, isn't it?
That is insane.
Insane. And now I'm like, do you want to go to Alton Towers this weekend? Do you want to go here this weekend? Shall we go to the theme park in Abu Dhabi? Shall we go to... we nearly went to one in Poland last week, but we didn't find out until the last minute. But I'm like, I love that shit now. Yeah, but I like hanging out with them.
I think you're incredible, mate. When I see you, you're always with your wife and your kids.
Oh, thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
Last year, all the way in Portugal you brought,
man. We did one in Barcelona. They came there as well.
Yeah.
But they get to meet these cool people. I mean, they're bantering.
Of course.
They're bantering James Smith and people like that, because it's kind of their circle.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My son's hung out with Tyson a couple of times.
And it'll make them also a little bit cooler at school.
Oh, they think they're really cool.
You know, like all that kind of stuff.
When they're getting their photos taken with the Sunderland players and that, can you tell your dad to get a photo with him and that? All his mates follow me on Instagram and that. They come on when I'm on a live. All his mates will be like, "Give me a shout out, Max's dad. Give me a shout out, Max's dad." But it's a howl, because they tell me that all his mates tell me weird shit about him. Like, guess what? Max has got like 3 girlfriends.
Do you like that? Do you like hearing all that?
Mate, kind of. The other week, we're going to his birthday party. Nina, my daughter's in the front. He's got 3 of his mates in the back. Right, they're like, guess what happened today at school? Like, what happened? They said, someone stuck a tampon on the window. I was like, what? He said, and they painted the end red and dipped it in mud, so it looked like there was like, and my daughter's in the front, right? I've never felt I felt a cringing really hard. And I was looking at her like, she just had a period talk at school and that. That's my favourite thing about being a dad, this whole cringy thing and embarrassing them. And,
do you make it awkward on purpose?
Oh, of course I do. When their friends come over, I'm farting and cracking jokes. And I'm the dad that's going, hey, no smoking, mate, no spitting, no swearing.
Yeah, love it.
But I love to banter them. It's fun.
Love it.
It's fun,
What's next for you, Paul?
Right now, I'm working on another book.
Okay.
I'm looking to make something like the Daily Stoic, but not boring, because that's a decent book. I've been reading
that for 4 years.
I like the idea of reading every morning for a little bit, just making it a habit. But I find that book just a bit boring, a bit old school. So I'm looking to bring something fresh where it's my mad stories. I've got a lot of mad stories.
Still
from my life.
Page a day, dated,
page, maybe 2, with a little question at the end.
Dated?
No, because then I don't want them to start on January the 1st. So I might go day 1, day 2, day 3.
I'm with you. It's up to them when they start.
So it's up to them when I want it to be like an evergreen thing.
Because I actually quite like the concept of a day. It keeps me, like every morning I read that page of that and page of daily laws.
Yeah.
Every morning. Yeah. Lovely. Just sets me up for the day.
It's not too much.
No.
It's not too heavy. I mean, there'll be some heavy stories in there, but I actually want at the end of every bit, a question, a takeaway. Something to do. Answer this question.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I do in my Telegram. I'll tell a story and I'll ask them a question at the end. So there's one the other day where I was saying, I hear a lot from people that time's the biggest problem. I'm like, well, actually, I believe you. Energy is more important than time. I guarantee that you've got more time than me, really. I don't believe I all have the same 24 hours in a day. I think some of us have more disposable time. And I'm like, really, your biggest problem is you're fucking unorganized, mate. Time's not a problem. Your level of disorganization is costing you so much time. I'm like, well, how do you know that? I'm like, well, show me a schedule. Haven't got one. So how do you know you're busy? You just feel busy. You just
Busy
feel
fool.
busy.
Busy
It's
fool.
like saying, it's like people that have no idea about money can never tell you where it's gone. They don't keep a budget. They don't keep accounts. They're all over the place. And it's the same with time. I'm like, and by the way, I hate having a schedule. I like the feeling of freedom. But actually that whole structure creates so much freedom for me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Completely.
So I'm like, most people that I'm like, you're just making it up as you go along. You're flying by the seat of your pants. And I was like that in business. And I couldn't crack the code on income until I got to a certain level where I realized actually a to-do list isn't good enough for the level that I want to get to next. Do you know what I mean? Even planning my day, my whole fucking quarter is 80% planned out now. You'll only get to a certain level with a certain level of planning. The next level requires something new. If you want to get something new, you've often got to let go of the old.
If you don't use to-do lists, what do you use?
So I use Google Calendar. I start with a to-do list for the week, and then I start moving those tasks based on deadlines and preferences and
Into your
urgency,
calendar.
and then I move them in my calendar.
Yeah. So
And
I've got
every day there might be a couple of to-dos that I just like, I must get this and this done.
I'm similar. So I use the Reminders app,
Yes.
and then I use Apple Calendar.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
same sort of thing.
To-do list.
I like a bit of, so I have structure, but I like a bit of flexibility inside of the structure. If there's no structure, I'm all over the fucking place.
Same as me.
But even me, mate, I have someone else has to manage my calendar because I'll just say yes.
I think we're all, no matter what anyone says, I think we're all weirdly like routine and structure as humans. I genuinely think we do.
Do you know what? I don't like too much structure.
Do you not?
Nah, I like a bit of, I would hate
What about
to be
routine? As in, like, do you train every day?
Most days. I do 20,000 steps every
Do you
day.
read every day?
Yes.
Do you journal every day?
Yes.
Is that not fucking routine?
Here's what I don't have. Don't do it at the same time. And I never do it in the same order. How weird is that?
Oh, that makes my anxiety.
I don't do it at the same time.
So that makes me go a bit weird.
I don't do it at the same time, and I don't do it in the same order. I do the same similar stuff, and I think it's because when I had a job that I hated for 4 years, got up at the same time every day, clocked in at the same time every day, ate me lunch at the same time every day, clocked out at the same time every day, and that just built this fucking, I hated it. So I think I've got this void where I'm like, mate, if I see someone, I remember the other week, I was going, if it was early, it was probably the airport, right? And I seen someone standing with like the lunch box, and I was like, they'll get picked. I bet they get picked up at the same time every day. And honestly, I felt something inside of me.
Yeah.
So I love that variety. That's why I travel so much. I go to different places. I'm constantly on the move, but I love it like that. I get bored with too much structure. That's what happens. And when I'm bored, I cause problems.
I get you. My work life is a bit like that. So I tend to do my training, reading, all that kind of shit in the morning. Yeah. Generally.
Yeah.
But the kind of,
because if you don't do it,
I probably don't do it.
Yeah,
in the
you
evening.
won't. Your priorities will start to shift.
Yeah, so I do get it out of the way early,
Yeah.
and then obviously try and start with the toughest tasks if I can.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you know, I drop off about 2 p.m.
Do you know what
3
I love
p.m.
to do? Do you know what I love to do now for where I'm at now, for what I've learned? I just like to get someone else to do the tougher tasks.
Do you?
Well, because it's not tough for them.
Yeah, you're right.
The things that are tough for me, so for example,
Are easy for them.
put a spreadsheet in front of me and I'm fucking checking out, mate.
Yeah.
I cannot look at a spreadsheet at all. It makes me fucking squirm in my seat. But there's someone out there that doesn't think that's shit. I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's shit. It's horrible. But I'm not forcing it on someone else. Kath, who works for me, fucking loves a spreadsheet. She makes spreadsheets for everything and tries to show me them. I'm like, I'm not interested. Don't show me. I don't need to see it. That's your spreadsheet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I always joke
you know when people talk about eating the frog?
Yeah.
I'm like, but I don't fucking like frogs. I'm not eating any frogs. But you're going to do that in business at some point. You're like, I'm only going to create. And again, by the way, I could make more money if I did more shit that I didn't like doing, but I'm not willing to. So if it's an event and you're not, it's on a weekend and you're not, if it's on a weekend, I'm not coming unless my kids can come. So I'll turn it down. It doesn't matter if you offer me $5,000 to go and talk, 10 grand, which I get regularly. I'm like, I'm not coming to do that talk unless you can bring me kids, because it's a day away from me kids, which I'm not going to get back on a weekend. And if it's in the football season, you're fucked. I'm not coming at all. Do you know what I mean? If it's in the football season, I'm not coming because that's what I do.
That's fucking half the year, man.
There was a period of my life, mate, where I stopped going to football for work, for business. Now I'm like, mate, this is so weird. It's so weird, this. I'm a big football guy. My events that I run for my big event, you know, the quarterly events, they're always at a football stadium. So we've done Goodison Park, Everton, we've done Sunderland, we've done Chelsea, we've done Man City, we're doing Villa. Because I still get butterflies in my stomach just seeing the pitch. So when I go to these venues, usually we'll be in a box or we'll be in like an event suite.
Yeah.
And then I always get the stadium tour and look at the pitch. I still get butterflies in my stomach. Isn't that weird? It feels a bit childish, but honestly,
passion of yours, obviously.
Being a football is one of my favourite things by far. I'm not distracted. I'm in it completely. Now my son's coming, it's even better. Sometimes my whole family will come. My daughter sometimes she used to love to come until he started coming. Now they want to come. We're singing. We're in amongst it. It's class.
Are you present as well, aren't you?
Oh, so
There's
present.
no
I'm never anywhere else. My son's now right into it, so he's fucking getting into the away fans and that. He's like that. He's like that, the away fans. He's like, hey, fatty. And it's just, do you know what I mean? He's giving you away. And we're singing all the songs and he's singing the songs. Mate, this is weird. So we'll go to games just because we'll be like, Eintracht Frankfurt, for example. Went to Germany to watch a game. We'll be at where were the other week? We're like a Man United game. He has no interest in Man United, doesn't support Man United, knows a few of the players, and he's singing the songs.
Fair play.
I'm like, how do you know the words? He's like, I'm just making them up, Dad. he likes to sing along with. He won't watch football on the TV, but he loves being at the game. Yeah. He loves being at the game. He probably likes the swearing and all that shit. And
the energy as well, if he's like you.
He loves it, mate. Aye, but but that's one of my highest values. So when do you know the Brighton gig, the IFS thing? It's like, Dad, can we go to a match? But there's no games. Aye.
What I was just going to ask you, when's your next, as we're coming to the end, when you next talking? When can people see you? Is it IFS the next one?
My next public event is IFS that I'm hosting. So we're hosting Stephen Bartlett, we're hosting James Smith, we're hosting Courtney Black. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it'll be mega. Aye, I'm excited. I've got no idea what I'm going to do because I've never hosted. I've hosted my events all day before. You just start
hype man, start Artful Dodger and that. Just jump around, shouting, screaming.
Hype man, give people a bit of shit. When Darren gets on, he'll be getting it in the neck.
Of course
he is.
I can't wait.
But that's that. So this year, the main focus for the rest of the year is going to be on this book because I've done a deal with HarperCollins for audio only. The position that I'm in now is, though, I don't care about getting paid for the book. I just want it in people's hands, which means that there's two ways here. I need to get it on the shelves. If it's not on the shelves, I'm not taking the deal. I'd rather self-publish it. So I'm like, one of my big goals is when I go to the airport with my kids, I want them to see me on the shelves because they're always bantering me for
above Smith.
All my mates are on the shelves. There's Tyson. There's Ollie.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Haskell. Oh, Dad, even Russell's got a book. Russell Kane.
Where's yours?
When we're going to see yours? So they're always bantering me for that. And I just think when you're at that level, I won't even make any money on the book, but I feel like I've got a message to share. I feel like I've got a background and a history that men in particular can resonate with. Men that, and I was saying to I was talking to Betsy about this, and I was saying, I feel that the men that I can help the most wouldn't normally pick up a book. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gadgies. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly
the blokes,
what you
the
mean.
fellas.
Yeah.
So this book has to say something, like we're on about.
Catch their attention.
Aye. And it needs to be, and that's why it needs to be a bit shorter, I think. It's not going to be a complex book. It's just like, here's a story, here's a lesson.
Easy read as well.
You can laugh at it. You can feel something, and now answer this question with a pen. Do you know what I mean? To give you so you can get a new insight, so you can start to have new thoughts, so you can stop practicing different behaviors, so you can start having different feelings. Do you know what I mean? Get you to think different, then get you to answer the question. Like, that's my thing. So
Sounds exciting.
Well, we're on about calling it something like unfuckwithable, how to become unfuckwithable. Because I believe that if you get your head on straight and you can master your emotions, nothing and no one can fuck with you mentally.
I like that.
Aye, it's sound, isn't it?
Really good.
Yeah. Like I almost want it to be like a mind vitamin. Every day you take this vitamin for your emotions, vitamin for your mind.
That's sick.
It's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with that. So that's my big focus for the rest of the year. But obviously at the same time, I've got the business shit. We've got a team coming on. We've got. I'd love to get on TV this year, to be fair, like. But whether the world's ready for that, fuck off, I'm too old for that. Let's do like a pensioners one.
Yeah.
Mate, my wife hates this. Twice this year I've been offered first dates.
Yeah.
First dates. I'm like, have you had it as well?
Yeah.
Get their messages. I'm like, nah.
In the inbox.
And they keep
there's
messaging.
another one they keep.
Do you want? Oh no, it wasn't. What's that? What's the one where you get married?
Not first date. Married at first sight.
That.
Yeah.
I'm like, and they said to me, I'm like, I'm already married. They're like, oh, it's fine because it's not a legally binding contract. I'm like, did you not hear the first part?
I said that. I said,
have you seen my wife?
If you scroll down 5 photos, you see my wedding photo. Like, they've not done no DD.
Nah.
They're just, I don't know what they're looking.
Look a bit of following.
Yeah,
got blue tick.
Yeah.
Got the blue tick. I'm like, nah. Who the fuck would that marriage would last a day because there's only one woman that could live with me.
Fucking funny, man.
Literally only one woman that if me and my wife split up and I had to move back with me mum would pay for me to stay in a hotel. Because there's fucking no chance she'd let me live there.
I love it. Mate, ledge.
Mate, I appreciate it.